Welcome to FA Today, daily news on a weekly basis.
Good afternoon, Franklin Academy. I'm Meredith Bond.
And I'm Brendan Love, and welcome to FA Today. This Wednesday is Veterans Day, and we would like to focus this week on the brave men and women who give us the opportunity to exercise our freedoms. The poppies made on Thursday will be planted today after school.
Many students at Franklin Academy have relatives who have served or are currently serving in the United States Armed Forces. Robbie Pretty and Jordan Barnes talked with many of the family members of the veterans to see how much they are appreciated.
Thanks, Meredith. Numerous people serve in the United States military, and some come from our Franklin Academy family. This week, we took time to highlight some of those people and realize what they do.
My mom and my brother.
My grandfather served in Vietnam.
My grandpa and my uncle.
I thank my grandfather for serving in the Vietnam War.
My dad served in the Ohio National Guard.
Both my grandfathers served, one in the Army and one in the Navy.
My papa, Walter McCann, Major, U.S. Air Force.
My dad.
My dad, Len Fairfield, served in Vietnam, and my son is currently serving in the Marine Corps.
My sister, my brother-in-law, my husband, and I have actually 3 brothers-in-law who have served.
My brother. My dad served in the Navy during the Korean conflict.
My grandfather.
My great-grandfather was in World War II.
My mom and my dad.
My pop-pop served in the Army.
My grandpa was in the Army.
My dad.
My Uncle Don served in the Air Force for over 25 years. I'd like to thank my husband and my father who have both served.
My grandpa, World War II, Japan.
My grandpa Joel was in the Air Force.
My grandfather.
My father, my grandfather, and my great-great-uncle.
I would like to thank my grandpa, his dad, and all of his brothers for serving in the Army, the Marines, and the Air Force.
That's just a small number of the United States military, but to everyone who serves or who has served.
Have you ever played a war game such as Halo or Call of Duty? Though these games are exciting to play, they aren't what they seem. Quentin Bob tells us more.
Playing war video games may lead you to believe that the military is a fun, thrilling experience. Sadly, not everything you see on the screen is true. According to Jimmy Thang, militaristic games often miss their mark of reality. Military soldiers say that they enjoy playing the games, but in reality, the experience is tremendously different. They also state the environment can be very similar, but the combat is nowhere close to what actually happens. A Marine Lance Corporal was interviewed and points out that most soldiers can't see or use the guns you see in the games. Most of these guns aren't military approved, and therefore cannot be used in actual combat. The biggest difference between video game combat and real war is the concept of lone wolfing, otherwise known as going off on your own to fight. In video games, you often find yourself on a mission alone, killing everyone in your path, but in reality, you are always with a team of other soldiers, or at the very least with a partner. The reactions to games are not similar to what reactions are in real life.
Are we losing right now? How are we losing? I've gotten like 6 kills just from Juggernaut.
What's your opinion on war games?
I mean, obviously I think they're fiction and don't show the real tragedy associated with real life war.
War in video games makes it seem like it's more fun than it really is, and more energetic, and it's actually a lot scarier.
I really think it depends because, you know, if it's like GTA 5, you know, they may take it out to the real life, start, you know, shooting people. But, you know, if it's, you know, maybe like an educational game like, you know, Leap Pad or something like that, of course, you know, definitely.
I think it's a good way to bond with people over like fun games and stuff, but if you play it a bit too much, then yeah, it can be a bit bad.
I feel different video games portray war very differently, with some of them portraying it as very heroic and definitely emphasizing the soldier as the hero, while other games take away from the gravity of the situation and basically make death seem meaningless at some parts, But there are definitely games that show the heroic nature of different soldiers and characters and how awful war really can be.
In the future, when playing war games, think about what the military is actually like. Quinn Bob, FA Today.
And with that, here's this week's Sports Short.
Hi, I'm Nolan Frost with this week's Sports Short. Fall sports are wrapping up with playoffs and winter sports are just kicking off. Varsity volleyball lost in the third round of playoffs last Thursday, October 29th, in a close match against Voyager. Girls golf also finished 7th in states, with top golfer Sarah Allen finishing 18th overall. Soccer and tennis are both currently storming through playoffs, and we will have those scores for you next week. In addition, the doubles tennis team of Claire Joyner and Danielle Park received 4th place overall in the individual regional competition. Basketball season is finally underway, with your JV and varsity boys both playing in their first game last Monday, November 2nd, against the Raleigh Hawks. After 2 hard-fought games, both received a loss. This is partially due to a lack of practices, with both teams only starting practicing last week. Lastly, be sure to come out to the basketball games, as both boys teams have a shot at redemption against the Raleigh Hawks.
A moment of congratulations is in order for Mr. Brendan Fries, as he's the recipient of a letter of commendation for the National Merit Scholarship Program. This honor is awarded to only 2/3 of the highest scorers of the PSAT. Congratulations, Brendan, and keep up the hard work. According to U.S. News, Franklin Academy is ranked 17th in the state academically, but just how does that translate into a student's knowledge about U.S. and world history? Jack Kessler asks our Patriots some illuminating questions.
Well, Brandon, we roamed the halls of Franklin Academy for the past week during lunch to see just how much our fellow Patriots know about basic history. The results were interesting.
John Adams.
John Adams.
John Adams.
I think it's like Thomas Jefferson.
George Washington.
John Adams.
John Adams.
John Adams.
John Adams.
I'm going to go with Andrew Jackson.
John Adams. Bill Monroe.
Uzbekistan.
Ukrainian. Uganda.
Ukraine.
Ukraine.
Uganda.
UK.
Uruguay.
Ukraine.
Uruguay.
Russia.
Russia. China.
Russia and China?
Russia.
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 Russia?
Poland.
Russia.
Russia has? And how do we know that there isn't really already a man on there? And so they landed themselves.
Russia.
Actually, I would have to say that the spacecrafts landed the man there.
No, I know.
England. Great Britain.
Britain.
Great Britain. Britain. England.
Britain.
Britain.
Ones that I'm not a part of.
England.
I believe Botswana.
The Vietnam War.
Annexation of Puerto Rico.
World War Zero.
Vietnam. The Afghanistan War.
I
will have to say the Civil War.
Vietnam. Korea.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that. I'd say Vietnam War. No, Vietnam.
Really, does anyone win when there's war?
Thanks for the responses, Patriots. We couldn't do this without you. Back to you guys at the news desk.
And now to Brittany Harris with some of our very own FA teachers on what it's like to be a veteran.
Miss Lee and Miss Gilbert are giving us an insight on what it's like to be a veteran.
Being in the military was a really good experience, especially for a young person. What the military is very good at, and, when I came into the military, I just finished college. So what they do is they give you lots of responsibility that as a college graduate you would never get in the real world.
It taught me a lot about myself. It gave me a lot of self-discipline that I needed. It made me believe in myself more than I did, and it taught me a lot of things that I didn't believe that I could do, physically and mentally. I think just the fact that I learned I could do it. When I joined the military, I did it because my daddy said I couldn't do it. And I joined really quickly just because I was going to show him I could, and I didn't think it through. And learning that I could do it and proving that I could do it meant a lot to me, especially when you're my size. It was a lot harder doing some of the physical things than for some of the other people, but just the accomplishment of being able to complete it meant a lot to me.
And I hope you have a great week.
Thanks, Brittany. And don't forget to thank veterans for everything they've done.
It's important to be thankful for those who've served our country. To express our appreciation, here's Jack Zacharias.
Thanks, Meredith and Braden. For this upcoming Veterans Day, we asked students how they would thank veterans in 3 words. Thank you, veterans, for what you have done for our freedom and for our country. This is Jack Zacharias for FA Today.
Seniors must consider many different options after graduation. Going in depth to give you a better understanding of these choices, here's Malcolm Nickel.
Thanks, Meredith. There are many different opportunities to pursue after high school. Graduates will choose to attend a university, take a gap year, or join the military. Many of our seniors will follow the path of serving the country. Our peers who have plans to join the military have more information to explore this opportunity.
Sam Drew expresses his interest at applying to both West Point and serving the country with distinction.
At the time, I'm looking at putting in an application to the U.S. Military Academy at West Point in New York. And if I do not get accepted into the academy, then I'm planning on going in through an ROTC unit at a 4-year university. Well, quite simply because I want to serve my country and serve others. It's a noble profession.
Charles Mosley also applying to West Point, looking to other military options before putting in his application, such as ROTC, the Reserves Officers Training Corps, and the OSC, Officers Candidate School.
I think I decided maybe around last year or the year before that I wanted to do West Point. West Point being that it's a military academy up in New York, and kind of through my grandfather's influence, as well as the physical and the academics to go on with it, I kind of decided the Army could be for me. I looked into other things, ROTC, OCS, and just enlisting straight, but I kind of have a tendency to like leadership and things like that, so I kind of decided I want to be an officer in the Army. And West Point, being that my grandfather was from there, it kind of just appealed to me. I made a visit up to there this spring, and it just looks pretty cool.
Seniors, consider all your options for post-graduation. Think about if serving the country is something you're interested in doing. With this week's Senior Moment, this is Malcolm Nickel.
Please keep current and former military personnel in mind this Veterans Day.
That's all we have for you this week, FA. I'm Brandon Love.
And I'm Meredith Bond, reminding you that freedom isn't free.